we've got Vineeta Singh as well, the CEO and the co-founder at Sugar Cosmetics, who is joining us. So if she's ready, maybe we'll take it across to her right now. Vineeta, thanks so much for taking time out and joining in. You've got the finance minister who alluded to the fact that we're the third largest startup ecosystem. The prime minister saying not long ago that startups really are the backbone of the country, and it's really fueling the overall ecosystem and giving wings to it. How have you read some of the key budget announcements this time around, Vineeta?
So much for having me. I am quite optimistic about the budget. I think 2-3 items from my wish list from this budget have been covered. Definitely one of the biggest is we need a spur in consumer demand across the board, and the income tax slab going up to 7 lakhs definitely is going to aid that. I really feel that there has, the fact that the finance minister addressed startups separately and spoke about the ease of doing business. I think that's another item that was in our wish list, which is basically talking about 39,000 compliances getting reduced. Still have to get into the details of whether that's going to make a material difference or not. But that combined with decriminalizing some of the legal provisions is very important because as entrepreneurs, we spend a lot of time just dealing with the regulations. And I think while India is ranked 3 in startups, we're probably ranked 37 still in ease of doing business. So I'm happy about those. I do feel that, there have been initiatives around special schemes for women and, the fact that the government has introduced credit guarantee schemes for MSME, that's going to help the ecosystem a lot. My regrets are that even after so many years, there has been nothing done to address one of the largest problems that startups face, which is the taxation on ESOPs being absolutely off market. India is the only market in the world where ESOPs, which is the employee stock option plans, are taxed both at exercising as well as at the sale. Which makes it very hard for us to grow this ecosystem. And we've all been talking about, the new economy, which is currently 3% of the GDP, growing to about 4 to 5% over the next couple of years. But for this, we need support from the government on better taxation, which means 2 things. One is better norms for taxing employee stock option policies. And secondly, treating unlisted shares also at par as far as the whole capital gain tax structure is concerned. So I think those were the 2 items, which is why I would rate probably the budget for startups at about a 7 or 8 or 10. I do wish that, they're addressed in the next year's budget because we have to look at startups driving employment as well as GDP growth over the next 2 to 3 years.
Yeah, indeed. So you're giving a 7 on 10, so that's not bad, at least for the budget. And you're seeing the markets as well react quite smartly to the announcements that have been doled out. But in specific, Vineeta, just wanted to get in your outlook because we've seen about 100 plus unicorns in the country, and a lot of the companies that have listed have really, we've seen the fate as well for a lot of shareholders, as a lot of them have eroded market value. But just want to understand, maybe from a spurring investment standpoint, could some more have been done in the budget this time?
Whole startup India movement, there was a mention in the previous budgets about the allocation of the fund of funds, etc. And this year there was no mention around that. Now, if you look at the entire funding environment, the whole race to 100 unicorns happened because, last year there was a lot of, in 2021, we saw a lot of USD flowing into India. And if you look at like the last 12 months, the funding overall is down at about 33%. So we're seeing, a much lower funding environment over the last 12 months. This combined by the fact that, because the markets are right now only giving preference to profitability and not so much to growth as they were about more than 12 months back. I feel that both of these are going to lead to a major crisis among startups as far as access to capital is concerned. So I wish that could have been addressed as well. But having said that, I think this is going to force a lot of startups to start looking at profitability early on, and they may have to sacrifice growth for profitability due to a lack of access to capital. So yes, I wish that there could have been something that could have helped internal allocation of funds to startups in a bigger way. Having said that, I think in India, even when there is an allocation of capital, because of the number of hoops you have to jump to get access to it, I think many companies are not able to meaningfully utilize those capital allocations. So I don't feel it will have a huge impact. I feel that driving consumption, which the government is doing through the income tax cuts, some of those duty cuts as well, which will help more manufacturing come up in India. I think that will have a much bigger impact than the downside of the lack of additional capital being allocated.
Right, Vineeta, I really appreciate your time. It's the first time at least we've had you on ET now. So thank you so very much. Avan was telling me you got a packed day ahead and you've managed to accommodate this request. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.